lights from Cassandra. Let's see if I can do something. And yes, I am live. So it says I'm recording at current resolution of 3840. Why? I keep resetting the thing. Do you have anything else to say now? Oh, goody. Finally start a romance.
I can keep staring at this, but I won't get any closer.
Keep banging your head against the problem. It'll go away eventually.
I'm predictable, I know. I suppose I'll never find them on my own. We saw so many Red Templars at the assault on Haven. Perhaps all that was left of the Order. What we didn't see was Lord Seeker Lucius. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. But the Seekers began this war against the mages. They cannot have simply vanished. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
But they could have ended up just like the Red Templars.
Seekers do not use lyrium. I assume Corypheus gained control of the Templars by corrupting the lyrium they were already taking. To do the same to a Seeker, you'd have to force the lyrium upon him. That may be what happened, but it couldn't have begun that way. We're missing a piece of the puzzle, Inquisitor. I need to find it.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I left the Order, but I can never abandon them. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
There. I noticed my screenshots aren't showing up on the screen when I take a screenshot. Hello? Oh wait, never mind. That's like, what? I can't move. Come on, game. What do you have to say for yourself?
Inquisitor, you have finally come into your own. The Maker has put you on a difficult path. I pray you walk it safely.
I remember our talk out there, before we found Skyhold. It wasn't just the Maker who put me on this path, was it?
The Inquisitor could never have been Cassandra, or Leliana, or me for that matter. We are too political, too tied to the Chantry and all its failings. But I did not make you stand against Corypheus. I did not make you risk death to save the people of Haven. Only you could be the Inquisitor. I only pray the power of the Inquisition is enough.
If the power of the Inquisition isn't enough, we're all in a great deal of trouble.
It may seem overwhelming now, but you have already done more than most could have. The Maker has chosen you to deliver us from Corypheus. You have the faith and support of everyone here. Never forget that. Now, was there anything else?
Yeah, you were pretty mean to Dorian. What?
Can you tell me anything about Corypheus?
I know nothing of the man personally, but the Chant of Light speaks of what he claims to be. No matter their power, their triumphs, the mage lords of Tevinter were men and doomed to die. Then a voice whispered within their hearts, "Shall you surrender your power to time like the beasts of the fields? You are the lords of the earth. Go forth to claim the empty throne of heaven and be gods."
That was one of the old gods speaking in their dreams.
Yes, Dumat as I understand it. In secret, they worked magic upon magic. All their power and all their vanity they turned against the veil, until at last it gave way.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds like what happened with the breach.
Very similar, Inquisitor. Above them, a river of light. Before them, the throne of heaven waiting. Beneath their feet, the footprints of the Maker, and all around them echoed a vast silence. But when they took a single step toward the empty throne, a great voice cried out, shaking the very foundations of heaven and earth.
Corypheus said he found only chaos and corruption.
The Chant of Light says that it was beautiful until the Maker himself spoke. And so is the Golden City blackened with each step you take in my hall. Marvel at perfection, for it is fleeting. You have brought sin to heaven and doom upon all the world.
Corypheus seemed so certain that he heard nothing. He described it as dead whispers.
Bitterness, perhaps? He paid a high price for his crime. Violently were they cast down, for no mortal may walk bodily in the realm of dreams, bearing the mark of their crime.
The mark.
Walking bodily in the realm of dreams is exactly what Corypheus said he did. But the mark, could it be related to the mark I bear?
I cannot say. Perhaps Andraste saw clearly and we misinterpreted her words. It was always taught that the mark they bore was the shape of Darkspawn. Bodies so maimed and distorted that none should see them and know them for men. That is all I know of your adversary, Inquisitor.
Some of the Chant of Light describes what we've seen and what Corypheus said, but not all of it.
The Chant of Light is the work of mankind. We of all people must accept that mankind is fallible. Listeners may have misheard one of Andraste's songs. Just one word sung incorrectly could change everything. And how many verses were stricken or changed for foolish political reasons, like the Canticle of Chartan. Still, I would trust these words over any spoken by Corypheus. I hope they help you.
Right, okay. Where did...
I am at your service.
You don't have a quest.
What is your evaluation of our supplies?
After...
We are well supplied, and I foresee only better to come.
As you were.
Of course, Inquisitor.
Oops. Oh, I need a whole lot of ammo.
Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered.
Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
Oh.
I understand if resources cannot be spared to help search for the missing
and then you
Seekers, Inquisitor.
complain about it right
Still,
away.
it could involve a threat we are unaware of. There may be a use in looking.
Of course, I'll go look. It got me stuck. Now you will.
I have
tell
some more
me.
questions.
Why am I not surprised?
Tell me about your brother.
I would
Oh,
prefer not
why?
to speak of Anthony.
Come
Another
on.
time, perhaps.
I'll let you get back to work.
Your worship.
Can we talk about the Bull's charges?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
Had one noble whose rival had been told by a fortune teller that her death would come on feathered wings. The noble sent us after the rival. Not assassination, legal and everything, but we had to wear feathers. We sewed them into shirts over our armor. Should have seen the chief, all feathered up like the cock of the walk. Ended up retreating after all that. The rival choked to death a year later on a chicken bone.
We'll talk later.
Can I help you?
See you later, Bull.
Why not?
Nice talking with you, boss.
It's just what I heard.
You've heard?
Of she who stands behind the
must
throne.
have. Puppy? Why are you whining? What happened here?
Well, let me know if you find one.
All quests are immediately done. There should be no reason he's gone.
True enough. Well, let me know if you find one.
Why are you whining, puppy? Oh, I don't know why you're whining. Why are you whining? Uh-oh. Piece of string, huh? Your nails need cut, too. Yeah, I love you, puppy. Your nails need cut.
Good to see you.
Ready for waiting.
No, I can't talk to her. There isn't any more. Right. I'm supposed to have
I'll
her
be back if
follow
I
me
need you.
around.
Go on.
Don't talk about nearly enough things with Cole.
What do you need?
It's made from people.
The important stuff.
I'd like to talk with you about Templars.
They're heavy with forgotten songs, like Varric. Some of them are too loud. It's hard to stay near them. Cullen is softer, but demons asked questions that hurt him. Evangeline was kinder. I want to explain, but Reese's mother spoke to spirits, but not to him. Then she died for a Templar he loved. Words just bounce off the edges.
Can you tell me more about how the Templars feel to you?
They feel older than they look. They've been changed, and their bodies are incomplete now. The lyrium helps, but their bodies always want to connect to something older, bigger than they are. That's why they block magic. They reach for that other thing, and magic has no room to come in. Like when I listened to Varric.
You listen to Varric, nothing has room to come in.
Can you tell me more about how the Red Templars are different?
The red lyrium is different, darker, daggers under the skin. It eats you inside until you're nothing. They hear a different song. The song behind the door old whispers want opened. They are dead and dark and done.
Yes, the Templars, the red lyrium. Here's the song beyond the door, which shouldn't be opened, as in the Blight, the Black City. Well, yeah, the Black City anyway. The old gods, Blight. Yeah, red lyrium is related to Blight, and Drool found red lyrium and Blight and brought both of them back. People try to separate things when they're actually
What's your general
connected.
opinion of Templars?
Some like hurting mages. It makes them happy, or less afraid, or dreams again. Woke up shaking, stalking the ground for one who looks like her. Always some rule being broken. But not all Templars listen when whispers crawl around inside them. They try to protect people, like Cullen. The good ones remember that mages are people.
Yeah, good thing Cullen got
I'll talk to you later.
now.
Probably.
When does
He teaches them to fight with a secret flaw, part of a glorious strategy.
Do I have to answer all the done
The
things?
servants are having trouble remembering some odd events.
Did I get this back
Can
now?
I assume you're responsible for the turnips that have shown up in the fireplaces?
They don't smell the same raw.
Yeah.
You needed that soldier to smell them, so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
Someone is leaving peeled plums on the windowsill. It's attracting flies.
Spiders need to eat.
And healers need something to treat infected wounds, like spider webs.
The plums are already dead. They don't mind helping.
Someone found a barrel full of misplaced daggers. Was that you?
They were safer there.
Safer than on someone's belt. They could draw them in the heat of an argument.
They would have been sad later.
I don't know if I got all this.
Someone stole an entire cheese wheel.
Mice like cheese.
Do mice also like bowls of crushed mint?
Yeah, I did.
That was for the cats.
So the cheese lures the mice, and the mice lure the cats. And then they smell the mint.
Mint makes the cats dance and play.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
I need his
I'd like to
pass.
talk about what happened to you before we met.
Before you, Reese was my friend. He showed me I was wrong to kill the mages. I thought I was helping them. Then he and Evangeline went to Adamant, and I went with them. I was worried Evangeline would hurt Reese. We found out dangerous things. It scared Seeker Lambert, and he scared the mages. It started the rebellion. Seeker Lambert told me what I was. Reese couldn't look at me. I ran until I found more Templars. That's all.
What can you tell me about Reese?
Why did you want
He
to
was a
find
mage.
Templars?
He saw me when most couldn't, and he remembered. He helped me, and I watched over him. I worried Evangeline would hurt him. She was a Templar, but she didn't like hurting people. When I left, she stayed. Now she watches over him. They should have been with the rebels. Maybe they ran away together instead. Neither of them like killing.
If you like, I could use the resources of the Inquisition to locate your friend.
No. If they are alive and safe, they should stay away. The last time he saw me, he didn't want to look at me. He saw a monster. Let him forget.
What did you mean when you said you killed mages?
Some of the mages at the Spire wanted to die. Too sad, too scared, too much. I didn't know what I was. A ghost, I thought. Fading in the fade. When I came to them, they could see me. I used the knife to set them free. When Reese found out, he made me stop, made me understand. There were other ways to help. I didn't know.
Sounds like you didn't know what you were doing.
No, I killed people. I knew. I just thought I had to. They were hurting, helpless, haunted. It was all I could do. It was wrong. I was wrong. If I start again, you or Cassandra or Cullen need to kill me.
What can you tell me about Adamant Fortress?
It is old, full of sadness and pain. It should be torn down. The veil is thin. We found a demon there. It had touched a man and made him real again. It scared Reese and Evangeline. The man wasn't supposed to be real. Then the demon found us. It put me back in the cupboard on the bad day. Reese and Evangeline saved me.
What was the Spire like when the Mage Rebellion started?
Dead and dying, begging and bloody. Some wanted freedom, some peace, some war. Some wanted it all to stop. Evangeline was a Templar, but she helped Reese help the others. She set them free. Adrian was a mage, but she killed mages to force the fight. She wanted blood. Reese just wanted to help, to stop people hurting. Maybe that's why he saw me.
You said Seeker Lambert told you what you were.
I'm hiding Reese from him, but he chants words and sees. I won't let you hurt Reese. My nose explodes, a shower of blood. Just another parasite that's wormed its way into our world, feeding off all the things you can't have. What we found at Adamant made him angry. We were the first rock rolling at the top of a mountain. He had to stop us. He killed so many. He didn't care. Cold, corrupt. So I came and killed him.
If you hated Seeker Lambert, why go to the Seeker Fortress?
Because he was right. I was a demon. I saw demons at Adamant. They put people in the dark, in the old hurts. I didn't want to be that. I heard the old songs of the Templars at Val Royeaux and followed them. If I forgot, fought, fell to felling, Templars would kill the demon. I wouldn't hurt anyone again.
He's always afraid he's gonna
I'll talk to you later.
hurt
Probably.
somebody else. Okay. That's why you went to the Templars. Hello, people that weren't standing here some other time. What the that cart? Well, you have a whole backpack on. What about you? I haven't even talked to him enough because
Was there something you needed?
no, that's gone now.
I should get to know you better.
Or do
We're
I
working
did it
together
later.
after all.
What would you like to know?
Talk
All right.
to him in Haven.
Where are you from?
I didn't ask him that.
I grew up in Ferelden, near Honleath. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. Traveling to Haven was the first I'd returned in almost 10 years.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
Except you definitely talked to Hawk about it.
You were away from Ferelden for 10 years. Was it strange being back there again?
Strange? No. If anything, the opposite. I was not sorry to leave Ferelden when I did. I had no desire to return. But leaving Haven was more difficult than I would have imagined. Not just because Corypheus forced it upon us. It felt like I was abandoning my home. I never thought I'd feel that way again.
I never thought I'd hear that. Haven was abandoning my home. Felt like leaving Haven was abandoning his home.
What was
Felt at
Kirkwall
home
like?
in Inquisition.
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest.
Always asking.
Relations between mages and
Before me.
Templars fell apart. An apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order, but Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion, turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
I'll let you return to your work.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
My heart.
How come it's still saying that when I took out romance?
I'd like to hear more about what you saw in your exploration of the Fade.
I think I have shared everything of note. I should spend some time encountering more stories.
I need to know more about Corypheus.
You shamed him when you destroyed Haven. Spoiled his glorious victory. It would be worse to acknowledge that you had done so. He must continue on his course or show weakness. He will return to his plans to throw Olay into chaos, and then conquer it for Devinter.
We'll talk later.
Dareth Shirar.
Vivian about anything. Ponytail's still working? Because
Yes?
No, I do not want to help the circle. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I won't ask her that. There, we can see her nice. Oh, you know what? I think one of the times I walked up here is when the mods weren't actually. I don't want to talk to her about the circle. I guess I did talk to her. She wants me to find her books.
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts in restoring the Circle?
After the circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the circle would be in your debt.
Well, there was one part where she had like a short ponytail, I swear, the third time I tried to talk to her. I was wondering about. Alright, don't worry.
Always with the questions. What will people say?
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
I was hoping to steal a moment alone with you.
I need to talk to you, he says. Have it your way, but let's go where 100 onlookers won't think I'm stealing the Inquisitor's soul.
Okay, straight hair sticking out in the back.
Always with the questions. What will people say?
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a Magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended, the Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City, it was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
Some were women. For sure.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine?
you people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true Divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyria.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
Ah. The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
Ah.
What is the Magisterium exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later. Lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
Whoops.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And? Did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what? 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I need to talk to you.
Could at least bring me wine. Loosens the tongue, so to speak.
Let's do something interesting.
More interesting than wandering the countryside killing random strangers? Perish the thought. This castle of yours isn't exactly filled with diversions, but we can figure something out. Could I adore you more? Probably not.
What?
I've been told something about an amulet.
How did you hear that? Oh, Liliana. Of course she would find out. Don't make an issue of it. I don't want someone solving my personal problems for me. I'll get the amulet back. Somehow. On my own.
I'm not entirely certain what it is.
The Parvus birthright. The flashy thing you show peons to make them tremble at your impressive lineage. I didn't leave Tevinter with much in the way of coin, so I sold it. Entirely forbidden, of course, and foolish, but I was desperate. I'll figure something out.
You don't even like your family. Why would you want it back?
Because it's mine, and it shouldn't be passed around like candy.
That's the only reason.
It's reason enough. Leave it be.
There are plenty of ways to skin a nug, Dorian. We'll think of something.
And I will. I'll get it back. I lost the amulet. I may not have your resources, but I can't ask you to... You have too many people asking you for everything under the sun. I won't be one of them.
Okay.
Inquisitor.
Why can't I go speeding?
I hear you'll be leaving us.
They're all dead. Something on your mind?
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
Have you been hearing the calling too?
I know what Corypheus is. He has no sway over me.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me. At your service.
I want to hear more about you.
Compared to yours, my life will seem dull indeed.
What did you do before you became a warden?
I was a soldier, a nobody trained to wield a sword and follow orders. I grew weary of fighting other men's wars.
So you became a warden?
More or less. Becoming a Grey Warden was the first time I felt like I mattered. The life I led before seems hollow in comparison. Perhaps one day it will fade away.
Your name, Blackwall, doesn't sound Orlesian. Marcher, then? For Eldon?
I was from the Free Marchers originally. Markham. That was a long time ago. Another life.
I hear that many wardens were once criminals.
You're right. And when you join, your past is forgotten, so let's leave it that way.
Why did you join the Wardens?
Because they remember honor and sacrifice. Words that have little meaning to the rest of us. Because they lay down their lives for those they have sworn to protect. We all need to believe there are such men in the world. I needed to believe I could be one of them.
We can continue this discussion at another time.
Very well.
Anyway, why isn't he building his thing yet? I didn't talk to him since he started trying to build that, did I?
What do you think of the Inquisition?
I just know that you could shake this world to its foundations if you willed it.
You must have some feelings about our friends.
Cole's dangerous, unpredictable. We aren't even sure what he is. Don't know what he might do. I wouldn't turn my back on him.
What do you think of the Inquisition's cause?
Restoring order is a goal I support wholeheartedly. But that's not the end of it, is it? Not by a half. The Lady Seeker believes we are restoring the Chantry. Others say it needs reform. I don't know where you stand on the matter, and I'll admit I haven't made up my mind either.
What do you think of my advisors?
Cullen. He's got the look of a man who's been through too much. He's seen the best and the worst of humanity, and I think he still struggles with where that leaves him. Still, I trust him to watch my back.
What do you think of my advisors?
Cullen. He's got the... Still, I trust him to watch my back.
We should return to our duties.
As you wish. You are, after all, in charge.
What? Okay. Something up here. Is that only... no books up there. Only if you're need a warrior. Another extra store. Is this? That is something. That's gonna screw me up. Dumped all those in there. Now, just because there's something related to math, I can't do anything in my head. It's minutes. Hike back. Sell all of them. Buy back. That's where it gets annoying. none in the buyback. Oh, forget it. Oh, I didn't realize the last one's, I mean, first one's really cheap. vehicles at a time, but I keep selling them all, and then I just say screw it and buy them, but now I can't do that. I can't do them anymore now. I did buy another one officially, but I'm getting so confused. Oops. It takes so long to get up this high too. It takes so long. Okay, this side. On cell. Okay. Whoops. Return to 5-5. Sell. It only wants me to sell 5. What happened to the 10? Done. I spent like an hour doing this.
Inquisitor.
A pleasure.
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
West 2. Let me get to the western approach. Nothing to type on here. Shall kiss us some more. Yep. Oh, I haven't recruited Dennett yet.
Crestwood has had no further trouble with the undead.
After what happened, it will take time for the village to recover.
Got all semantics. Yeah. Apparently, just in case I don't have all semantics. Well, I would because I got all the points. Oh yes, find the mayor.
Inquisitor.
Double agent.
Let's see what we have.
What was conscription for the Inquisition? Let's issue with something. Just tried to think of something when I was I have to go back and see what the but it doesn't look like it's even on the war table. Conscript was the warden thing. It's supposed to be new to the crew. Once I skipped over it so fast I told him no. I don't know, I might have, I guess. Because I did kind of jump through it fast. It should be over here. This is conscript.
We cannot neglect our soldiers' training.
Can we neglect roads? Our allies cannot take the same route through the mountains we did.
I don't know what you're supposed to do. Yes, I have the romance card in the file. I took out the romance mod. Romance shouldn't be considered active.
Visitor, welcome to the Western Approach. We've sighted Warden activity to the southwest, but no one's been close enough to figure out what they're doing. Between the sandstorms and the vicious wildlife, we haven't made it far out here. One of my men got too close to a poison hot spring and gave me a slightly delirious report of a high dragon flying overhead. In short, this might just be the worst place in the entire world. Be careful out there.
Are you worried about me?
Someone has to be. And try not to die. I don't want to deliver that report to Skyhold. We intercepted a Venatori messenger and, persuaded him to give up the orders he was carrying. We have them here. This entire place. It just feels like something's not right. Be careful.
I need to replace that dwarf one.
This might interest you, sir.
Thought I did, and then it got messed up again.
What is it?
Well,
This may be
got really
worthwhile.
tall there. Side. You're standing on a rock. Ah, there's that. Yeah. Right.
Word for you.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir.
The lazarite that I don't have yet. Kristen barely got here and Lisa disappeared. Tired. What? write her back her phone at home. Spend $4 at night. Yeah, and then Lisa apparently had to bed.
None of this should be here. Is there only one? There's supposed to be two of them. I mean, oh. Wait. I know exactly what I did with it. I can't get it now. I think it's actually on iron bulges because maybe I took it off. I was trying to see the armor I made for him. Okay, let's not get infected now.
Some shit's getting an arse full of arrows.
These supplies were intended for someone out in this desert. Stolen, perhaps?
What happened here?
None of these poor sods had knives or shit. Who'd do this?
Always have the even ground trial on. So if it interfered with that, it would have done it in the other game. I had the passive electric all the time.
A chantry symbol out here. Odd.
Oh yeah, I went past the caves to like
did this.
What are these weird things? Yeah, it's obviously a machine. It has an electrical cord. We were debating the idea of whether such things were machines in this game. It's a drill. And whether I could write Horizon Zero Dawn and immediately call what I found a machine and not some moving piece of metal trying to kill me. This is a machine. Run by red lyrium, obviously, and turned into a... This is what would be called a machine. Trying to take a picture of said machine. I got it on my phone. It wasn't attacked yet. Yeah, I was trying to get it on my phone. Hello, standing on top of Alexandra. Yes, hoping to avoid the purple curse plague thing that happens. This machine from the top. Horizon Zero Dawn crossover. Where'd you go? Can't see. I'm hoping not to be infected. Get infected with the grizzly end and obviously the 505 thing. That's what I was trying to do. And here you come again on your own. Come here then, hurry up. Get up here. Come on. If you don't come, I'm gonna set the keyboard back down. Not wanting under the blanket. Jenny caches. Somebody just got infected. This spider.
This was an atrocity. We will put an end to those responsible.
It keeps making electrical noises whenever you're moving. Funny. Hard to get one. on the ceiling. Good thing I'm not desperate for any spider ichor. Oh yeah, maybe I am. Not desperate. There's another way out of this cave. Oh. Well, you're not taking much damage. Oh, I'm on hard. And this back. And it's faster to use electric. Part of product. Okay. Dragon time.
Lovely. Tell me we won't be fighting that creature.
Sandra, you're the dragon hunter. We need to know where
The trail leads on.
dead? using not dead whispers, but venatory whispers anyway. Voice, I'm too tired. Oops. Who else is yeah. So this way. No. Come on. Oh, I didn't put my permafrost back on. Oh, there. Get to where I'm going. Look, I went in a nice circle with edges. What? Anyway, holding up a demon head. And all them people. Yeah, them are all people. And people with shields. Looks like some Greek Egyptian. Any kind of where I was going to set up. I can't. Oh, yeah. This is the one. Dead yet? be alright before the wonderful Frederick.
This would make a good place to camp.
He talks a lot anyway. I got good plane time in today. Thank you, anybody who watches my videos. I hope you like them. See you sometime tomorrow. It's already 2 a.m. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more in the middle of this night. Because I need to try to upload something I've already done. Alright, thank you and good night or day or anything. Goodbye.